How one trade almost transformed the Celtics' fate. Imagine if a single yes could alter the course of an entire NBA season. That's almost what happened with the Boston Celtics when Bradley Beal, one of the league's biggest stars, was on the trade market in 2023. He revealed that the Milwaukee Bucks had offered Chris Middleton to bring him to the team, and that move would have completely changed the league's dynamics. The question is, if Beal had accepted, where would the Celtics be now? Let's dive into the details of this story and explore how a nearly made decision could have shaken the very foundations of the Celtics and the entire NBA. Hold on tight, because what you're about to discover might completely change your perspective on how a franchise's destiny can hinge on just one negotiation that didn't happen. The butterfly effect of a trade. Every fan knows that winning a title is about more than just having the best players. It's a giant puzzle where every piece matters. The coach, the supporting cast, the team's health, and of course, the trades that happen, or almost happen. For the Celtics, one of these trades almost changed everything. Bradley Beal, on his appearance on the Run Your Race podcast, admitted that the Bucks came very close to acquiring him in 2023 by offering Chris Middleton to the Washington Wizards. However, Beal's decision was crucial. He had, and still has, a no-trade clause, giving him the power to choose his destination. In the end, he opted for the Phoenix Suns. But what if he had chosen Milwaukee? The shockwaves from that choice would have reverberated throughout the NBA and, of course, reached the Celtics. If Beal had gone to the Bucks, they wouldn't have needed to pursue Damian Lillard as their second star alongside Giannis Antetokounmpo. That would have completely changed the trade dynamics that unfolded later, including the deal that sent Jrue Holiday to the Portland Trail Blazers. Without Lillard in Milwaukee, Holiday would never have been sent to the Celtics. The result? Boston would have started the season still with Malcolm Brogdon and Robert Williams III on the roster. Two players whose injury histories would have made the team's foundation far more unstable. Of course, that doesn't mean the Celtics couldn't have one without Holiday. But let's be honest, the gaps he filled after Marcus Smart's departure were vital. Without him, Boston's chances would have been significantly lower. Would the Miami Heat have been stronger? But that's not all. If the Bucks hadn't pursued Lillard, the chances of Portland giving in to Lillard's original request and sending him to the Miami Heat would have been much higher. Now imagine this. A Miami team that had already made an unexpected run to the 2023 Finals, reinforced with Damian Lillard. This could have turned the Heat into a real nightmare for the Celtics in the East. We've seen how often the Heat has been Boston's Achilles heel, and with Lillard, the story could have been even more challenging. In summary, if Bradley Beal had accepted the trade to Milwaukee, the Celtics might have been weaker, while the Bucks and Heat could have become even more dangerous. What does this tell us? That perhaps Boston fans owe part of their recent success to Beal's no-trade clause. A single decision had the power to shape the entire trajectory of multiple franchises. Celtics re-sign Jay Scrubb. The Boston Celtics have decided to bring back a familiar face. Jay Scrubb, a player who had been sidelined since his knee injury. But now, he's back, and his story promises an electrifying comeback. Scrubb, the talented guard who previously donned a Celtics jersey on a two-way contract, just signed an Exhibit 10 deal. However, to make room for him, the team had to waive forward Tristan Enaruna. That's right, each decision has a ripple effect on the future of this ever-evolving team striving to improve. The return of Scrubb. Jay Scrubb's story is one of sheer resilience. After a standout performance in the 2023 Las Vegas Summer League, Scrubb earned a contract with the Celtics. But fate had other plans. During the preseason, he suffered a devastating ACL injury in his right knee. Scrubb's dreams seemed to collapse when the team waived him to free up space on the roster. Yet now, he's back, ready to prove that this injury was only a temporary setback. Scrubb himself confirmed on social media that he's been medically cleared 100%. Imagine the thrill of returning to the court after such a grueling recovery. "I'm ready," Scrubb announced on Instagram, sparking excitement among fans. Mazzulla's support and confidence. Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla always believed in Scrubb's potential. It's tough to watch him go through that, especially with the mindset he brought from the beginning of training camp and into the Summer League, Mazzulla said last year. The coach didn't hold back praise, acknowledging that while the recovery journey is difficult, it's full of promise. "I hope he has a great recovery, and I'm excited to see him grow." These comments not only reveal the respect Scrubb has within the organization, but also build massive anticipation for his return. Could we see Scrubb rise again on the court and become a key piece for the team? What's next for Scrubb? Currently, Scrubb is still eligible for a two-way contract, but the Celtics have already filled those slots with J.D. Davison, Anton Watson, and Drew Peterson. This means Scrubb will most likely return to the Maine Celtics, the team's G League affiliate. He's set to earn a $77,500 bonus after spending 60 days with the team. Now, the burning question. What can we expect from Scrubb in the future? He's already proven he has the determination to overcome a devastating injury and the skills to compete at the highest level. But can he stand out in such a competitive Celtics roster? With his imminent return to the G League, expectations are high. Scrubb will fight to show that he deserves a permanent spot on the Celtics' main roster. And with his inspiring comeback story and internal support, who knows? He might just surprise everyone and become a key player in future campaigns. Celtics lose valuable trade assets. The team, fresh off an impressive season, has suffered a quiet yet significant blow. The Celtics have lost valuable trade assets that could have completely changed the game. And the reason? The brutal new reality imposed by the NBA's collective bargaining agreement, CBA. Here's where things heat up. The CBA brought new rules that have turned trade exceptions, previously a golden tool for roster building, into a double-edged sword. If not used in time, these exceptions simply evaporate. And guess what? That's exactly what happened to the Boston Celtics at the end of the 2023-24 season. The harsh new reality of the CBA. The new NBA collective bargaining agreement, which came into effect in July 2023, introduced heavy penalties for teams that exceed the so-called second apron of the luxury tax, like the Celtics. Here's the key point. If teams don't use their trade exceptions before the end of the regular season, they lose that flexibility with no compensation. These exceptions allowed teams to absorb a player's salary in trades without matching salary amounts. It was a powerful ace in the hole, but now it's more dangerous than ever. The Celtics, who spent much of last season above the second apron, let several of these multi-million-dollar exceptions expire. This represents a massive missed opportunity, something that could directly impact the team's future in a competitive NBA market. The numbers. What was lost? Let's dive into the numbers. The Celtics had several trade exceptions at their disposal, created through key deals involving stars like Marcus Smart and Grant Williams. Among the largest were $11.6 million from the Marcus Smart deal. This exception was generated when the Celtics sent Smart to the Memphis Grizzlies in exchange for Kristaps Porzingis. With this amount, the team could have absorbed the salary of a mid-level player without worrying about salary matching. $6.9 million from the Grant Williams trade. This figure came from sending Williams to the Dallas Mavericks. Though smaller than the Smart exception, it still offered enough flexibility to acquire a player or even be combined with other exceptions. In addition to these, there were several smaller exceptions, ranging from $1 million to $5 million. All these options vanished into thin air when the 2023-24 season ended without being utilized. The missed opportunity. And what if one of the biggest missed opportunities for the Celtics was the chance to re-sign a familiar face? With $11.6 million available from the Smart trade, Boston could have had the chance to bring back their former player, an elite defender and emotional leader of the team. Just imagine the impact that his return could have had, especially with Kristaps Porzingis out and the need for someone to embody the defensive heart of the Celtics. Smart's return wouldn't just have been a signing, it would have been a masterstroke to strengthen the team with a player who already knew the culture and had the trust of the fans. But that opportunity is now history. Time ran out, along with the chance to use the trade exception to bring back a key piece from the past. As if that weren't enough, Boston also lost the chance to add depth to the roster at a time when every detail can make the difference between winning or losing. This loss marks a severe blow to the Boston Celtics. The team, which is looking to maintain its elite position in the NBA, now sees its financial flexibility severely compromised. With the goal of pursuing their 18th NBA title next season, the Celtics could have used these exceptions to fill gaps in the roster, especially in areas where the team will face challenges. For example, Kristaps Porzingis is already expected to miss a significant part of the season due to injury. Using one of these exceptions to bring in a replacement player, even on a short-term basis, could have made all the difference. Now, the team will have to rely more on internal development or explore less flexible methods to improve the roster. A difficult task, considering the restrictions imposed by the second apron of the luxury tax. With the 2024-25 season on the horizon, the Celtics face a new reality. Without the financial cushion that these trade exceptions provided, the harsh rules of the CBA have forced the team into a stricter salary structure, making any roster changes much more complicated. With Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown as the stars with heavy contracts, Boston's salary cap remains tight, and maneuverability in the trade market is increasingly limited. Hey Celtics fanatics! What do you think of this news? Leave your opinion in the comments, as it's highly valued.